We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Dave, and I am joined today by my good friend, Steve, and we both work for DYM. And today, Steve's going to be walking us through just the basics of Sidekick, but going through the entire app, so all the builders and everything, and showing us what to do. So if you've ever opened the app, and you're like, what do I do next? Steve's going to help us with that. So at the very end, we're going to be doing a Q&A session. So just kind of make some notes of your questions, and you can ask them at the end, and we'll have a little interaction time then. But for now, Steve's going to be walking us through. Don't mind, this is a basic kind of course. So if you're looking for that advanced feature of how do you make this widget spin around and catch on fire, I don't know. We'll be doing that later at a later time, but this is going to be just the basic walkthrough. So with that, Steve, it's all you, buddy.
Awesome. So just a little introduction. Dave and I used to work together at a church here in Kentucky doing youth ministry. And we really wanted to be able to do some specific things in our ministry that we couldn't do. And so Sidekick's main purpose was to be an app that we wanted to exist, that we couldn't find anywhere. So we wanted to make that. And so that's what Sidekick is. It's an application made for the Mac or PC by youth ministers for youth ministers to do things that you can't normally do in PowerPoint or ProPresenter. And we're going to walk through a lot of those specific features. Like I said, it works on Mac and PC. It does not work for iOS or Android or Chromebooks. Those platforms are pretty limited, so we can't actually do all the things that we want to do on those. It was primarily designed to work with your second screen, kind of like you could with ProPresenter or PowerPoint, where you have one screen that you can control everything on and a second screen where the audience is seeing everything. But Sidekick is uniquely able to work with Zoom perfectly. So if you're here to figure out how you can use it in Zoom, we're going to cover that in this as well. Sidekick uses what we call builders, and we're going to walk through those in just a moment. But builders, you can kind of think of them as apps within Sidekick. And each one of those apps has its own unique superpowers. Again, going back to the things that we wanted to do in our own youth ministry. And then finally, I'm going to share my screen here if I can. Sidekick was made, or Sidekick is free to download. Anybody can download it. You don't need an account. Well, you do need a free account, but you can download it at sidekick.tv just by clicking this download and get started. You don't have to pay to actually use it, but it'll have a big watermark on it that kind of X's out your screen. You have to be a gold member or a Sidekick only member to be able to play without the watermark. And you can find those prices on sidekick.tv in this pricing section. Without further ado, when you're ready to try out Sidekick, if you haven't already done this, we're actually going to go back to sidekick.tv to download Sidekick. If you go here, there's a big red download button. You can scroll all the way to the bottom, download for PC or Mac. Again, that's what it works on. And you should get an installer. On a Mac, it looks something like this. And all you have to do is drag this to your applications folder, put it somewhere in there. On a PC, you'll double click that icon. It'll go through the normal kind of PC installer way that Windows handles that, and you should be good to go. And then to access it, you do it just like you would any normal app. So on a Mac, you can go to this view and hunt for Sidekick. There it is. Or you can drop it down into your bar or go to your applications folder. So I'm going to come over here to my applications folder, and I can see it right here. On a PC, it should show up in your start menu, and you should be good to go. Cool. I've got Sidekick open right here, and when you first open it up, you're presented with your library. We're going to go pretty in-depth in the library, but these are all your files that you've ever downloaded and imported into Sidekick or created within Sidekick. They're all here. They save automatically, and they all show up, and you can create as many as you want. I mentioned before that Sidekick uses the idea of builders. Sidekick currently has 11 builders, and we're adding to this number all the time. But these are the kind of apps within the app that allow you to do special things. It's kind of like the utility belt, if you will, of Sidekick. And they can do certain things like Wheel of Destiny will allow you to make a wheel that you can completely customize, or Survey Says, which is a Family Feud style game builder. If you've ever tried to build Family Feud in PowerPoint, you know that it is a nightmare, and that's an easy way to do it. Or we have Pick Me, which is a people picker, but you don't have to just put people in there. You can put whatever, prizes or punishments. We have Leaderboard, which is an interactive leaderboard, a scoreboard that takes all the math out of keeping score. To show you how easy it is to create a file, we're in our library, and over here on the right hand side we have this create button. We're going to click that, and I'm going to create a new wheel file. And to start things off for fun, we're going to call this the Wheel of Consequences. And if you ever need help figuring out what does Wheel of Destiny do, or what does one of these builders do, there's a quick little intro video right here that'll walk you through the capabilities of this particular builder. But we're just going to create this game. And right here, I can see I'm already introduced with this idea over here in my display window of add more items to play. So apparently I need to add some items. And up here, I see this plus items button. So let's click that. And for consequences, this game is going to be kind of like the idea of if somebody has their microphone unmuted during a Zoom call, or if they go to talk and their microphone is muted, we're going to make them spin the wheel of consequences. So we're going to make them run to the mailbox and back at their home. And then we're going to have another item. They're going to have the lights off in their room for the rest of the Zoom call. 10 jumping jacks. And you can see as I'm putting these in there, they're updating live on the wheel, and I can just hit enter and it'll get me ready for the next one. Chug a glass of water and wear a shoe on one hand. Cool. So we've got these, they're all added in there and ready to go. Oops. It's looking pretty good, but the wheel still kind of needs a little work. It's kind of in this void. So let's add a background.
It's a little boring, Steve.
Yeah.
Bruce it up for us.
So you can see right now our current background is black, but Sidekick comes with a bunch of pre-made backgrounds. You can also add in your own background right here with this plus button. But I'm going to maybe make it pizzazzy. That works. Okay. And for the theme, we can totally customize it. Sidekick comes with a bunch of themes in here, so we can make it kind of Doom themed. Oops. That one looks kind of fun. And then for the position, you can position the wheel in a few pre-made spots. I like putting it like right here, so we can kind of see what's going on. And yeah, that's kind of, we've now completely made a wheel that we'll be able to spin here in just a moment. We can come in here and we can change the color of specific items or the odds or how big a piece is, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Next, I want to talk through edit and play. Sidekick has 2 modes for every game that we do, and it's edit and play, and they do exactly what they say. Edit allows you to edit your items, get them ready to go, and play is all the functions that you need when you're ready to go. These are the you don't need to add items to the wheel immediately. All the things that you need to play are right here. So we're going to go ahead and give this wheel a spin, but I can already tell you what it's going to land on, and it's going to land on wear a shoe with on one hand. That's because Sidekick uses its picker module. The way that we've made it is because it's a computer that's picking the winner, we've just picked it prior to. So now we can give you a little bit of a hint of what it's going to land on. And I can see that right here with this next winner. This golden trophy is wear a shoe on one hand. So if I click clear, I can see Sidekick has already picked the next winner, which is going to be to chug a glass of water. And if I were to hit spin, it would spin around a few times and then eventually land on chug a glass of water. But let's say the student that's coming up might have a particular need. We don't want that to be the case. We can go over here and choose this little spinny button and choose a new random winner. And I can see that it's changing the next winner of this wheel. So Sidekick gives you a ton of power over what's going to actually be picked on a wheel or in some of the other things that we have. And you can remember that the golden trophy, is what is always going to be picked next. So wear shoe on one hand is what's going to be the next winner. All right, let's try another game. I'm going to create a new, again, back in my library. You can always get to your library up here in this big blue button right here. And so I'm going to create a new pick me game. And I'm going to say this is my students. And we're going to put all of our kids' names in here so that way we can pick a next volunteer to come up and do the thing. But rather than sitting here and clicking this plus button over and over, I've actually got a list of the kids in our ministry. Whoops. Where did you go? Right here. And so I can copy this list. Copy.
Steve, you're in like text edit. Could you do that
Yes.
with like Excel or say a check-in software or something like that?
You totally could. It just needs to be in some kind of list format, and these need to be new lines. So if this was Maria Smith and Taylor Johnson, it would divide these up into this list. And you can always dump something like from a check-in software, like a CSV or something like that. You can always put that into an Excel document, format it, and then copy those rows, and they will drop right into Sidekick just fine. So we're going to copy these, and then I'm going to come over here to bulk and just paste in the list. And when I hit this add button, Sidekick's going to automatically look for all these returns and add in this entire list of students, all with one click. This is super helpful. I've been able to insert thousands of names at one time into this list without any problems.
Somebody just asked a question too about Zoom and a list, and I don't know of a way to export a list of names that are in Zoom. So you would maybe need to set up some kind of registration ahead of time.
Yeah, that's a good question. The best way that I've seen that done is you can use something like Google Forms or Typeforms. We can totally go into this later, but you can have people put in their name during the Zoom call, so that way you know exactly who is there, and then paste that name in. Again, just like with Wheel of Destiny, we can change the background, make it look however we want. I like it to be a little more doomsday. And then I like, for a theme, it comes with all these pre-built themes, but I like the flux capacitor to choose who's going to pick the next volunteer for my game. Now, one thing that we didn't talk about necessarily with Wheel, but still exists in Wheel, is this button right here. And this is odds. And so I may know that I know Abraham's parents, and Abraham's parents will not like what I'm about to pick him for. So I'm going to set him to never win. And so Abraham will see his name on this list here as it spins, but his name will never be able to get picked. It's completely out of the running for this particular race. And so I can come over here, and just like I said before, the golden trophy is going to show you who's going to win next, and I can hit spin. And notice you'll see Abraham in here, but Kaylee is going to win, and Kaylee does in fact win, which is pretty cool. And then another cool feature is we have this hide last item. So if we turn this on, this will hide the next winner, which will be Daisy, after Daisy is won. And so now we can only pick students one at a time. They won't be able to get picked again and again because it's a random picker. There's that possibility that it could pick the same person twice. This allows it to hide that winner, and so they won't get picked. So if I hit spin, Daisy wins. If I hit clear, Daisy now goes away. And if I come back to the edit screen, I can see that Daisy is grayed out. If I want her back in, it's super easy to click this eyeball, and she will be back in the race, and now we can see her.
Steve, I noticed
But
that feature was also on the wheel as well.
it is. So this entire area here and this eyeball, the hide last item, all of that are the same features that you have on the wheel. If I come up here to my wheel of consequences that we made, you can see this looks identical. And these features here, these here, they're all there. So now that you know how to use wheel, you already know almost everything there is to know about the Pick Me app and all the features that you can do here, which is pretty cool. Let's say that we went ahead and we played this multiple times. So stop, Kaylee and Mariah and Todd all won. But we're ready for next week and we want to get started again. Over here in the play, you can see that Todd and Kaylee and Daisy are out of the race. They can't play anymore. Well, you can come over here to this eyeball all, visible all, and show all of the people again. And now it turned everybody back on. So we're ready for next week. We don't have to copy this list in again. And of course, we can add people, remove people, and all that within that list.
So what was it you click on again?
Up
I just
here,
want to hear you say the name of it again.
the eyeball all.
Nice. Thank you.
You can also hide all people right here or remove all if you just want to clear the board to start over for next, like if you've got a different list, you can do it there. Yeah, let's go ahead and create another game. Let's learn about another builder. For this one, I'm going to create another game. And this time, instead of using the Pick Me or the wheel, I'm going to do a leaderboard to show how easy it is to do a leaderboard. And I'm going to call this grades because I want my high school students to compete against each other. And I can see right here a familiar interface. I'm going to add some items. I'm going to do 9th grade, 10th grade. Whoops.
Steve, while you're doing that, we're also going to be showing a little later, not only is he going to go through every builder, but we'll talk about Zoom and how to use it with Zoom as well. That's coming.
Yep. And then I'm going to change the background just to something more visible. That looks good. And then the themes, it comes with a few themes to make it kind of pop a little bit. I like this one. Let's see. You can change the color of a particular team. So maybe the 9th graders are the purple Panthers and these ones are the, I don't know, whatever. So you can totally do that. And then we're going to go to the play screen because now we're done editing this. So we're going to go to the play screen. And I can see all my teams right here in this list. Now, Sidekick defaults by adding 1 point every time you click a plus sign. So if I hit 1, 1, it's just adding by ones. But because I'm bad at math, we can put 25 in here. And now we're upping by 25s.
Did you do
and you
like
can see
2,483 in there?
2,483. Boom.
There you go.
I just did all that math instantly. We were at camp a lot, and people from stage would just randomly throw out numbers. Hey, can you add 4,567? Yeah, no, totally. That's easy. I can do that math. We're busting out your calculator. That's a nightmare. You can, of course, subtract numbers. And I like putting random numbers in here, something like 37. And hey, 12th grade, we're just going to give you a bunch of points. And now it looks like I'm just adding random numbers, but it's really just multiples of 37. So you can see there's zero math, and you're able to keep score. You can even like hide teams. So I'm going to hide these teams and reveal like, hey, in 4th place, it's the 9th graders. And in 3rd place, it's the 12th graders. 2nd place, the 11th graders. And 10th place with 4,618 points, it's the 10th graders. Yay. And now we can do this, which is pretty cool. Another feature I wanted to show here real quick is the title graphic. So you'll notice that up here is this graphic that got made when I hit grades. And in here, you'll notice that we have the wheel of consequences and students. Those were just created when I made these games. But this is totally updatable. I can click here, click on this
Steve,
plus
you're talking
sign.
about leaderboard, but this can be on every game, right?
Yes, this
on
is every
builder.
game. Yep. And so I've got this, desktop, this Battle of Grades graphic I made. And so now I've got a different icon that shows up in my list, Battle of Grades. What's also fun about title graphic is you can turn it on, so you can reveal the entire game board at once. So I can turn this on, maybe make some changes to the points, and then say, all right, let's see our winners, and then turn the title graphic off and show the entire game board. Whatever action is happening, the title graphic is like a bail slide. You can do a ton of actions underneath of it. It's going to be on top of everything and allow you to change anything behind the scenes without them knowing, and then you can just reveal it.
Steve, I also noticed when you do that, there's like a little orange box that shows up.
Yes. So sometimes we may be doing things like I'm in here and I'm updating this grade, but I don't see anything happening over here. And it can feel like Sidekick is just broken. Well, that's because the title graphic is on. It's literally prohibiting me from seeing what's going on. So we can turn that off here, and now we can see what's actually happening and that we are actually updating things on the fly.
So if I download something from the store and I see that that little orange thing is on, and I'm clicking stuff and nothing's happening, I just know, oh, okay, I can turn my title graphic off.
Exactly.
And that'll reveal what's underneath.
And title graphics are in everything. So if you download a wheel game, it'll be on top of your wheel. If you downloaded a leaderboard, it'll be on top of your leaders. If you had a pick me game, it'd be on top of your students' names. So it is literally covering up everything. It's like a master slide on top of everything. So yes, absolutely.
So you've done all this work. What about like saving your file?
Exactly. Files are saved as soon as you do something. So I'm going to clicking this, and you can see up here where it says grades, all changes saved. If I hit title graphic, it's saving, all changes saved. That was really fast, sorry. Changes are saved automatically. And so I can actually leave a game. So I'm going to go to my students right now. And this is the exact way that I left it. And if I go back to Battle of Grades, you can see it's right where I left it. The scores are still the same. The title graphic's still on. So it's super easy to switch back and forth between things because it's saving things right where I left them. So I can go back and forth really, really easy.
So is there an easier way to switch back and forth, maybe?
Yeah, because like this list would be kind of like terrible to like have to hunt for, okay, my students, but where's that Battle of Grades? Oh, here it is. It's right here. So a cool way to go back and forth really easily is to use a playlist. And so I'm going to hover over this Battle of Grades, and I can see this star. And if I click on the star, notice that the star is now persistent. It's not going away. And if I come over here to students, I'm going to hit star. And if I come up here to the wheel of consequences and hit star, all three of those things have been added to my playlist. And I can click on playlist, and I can rearrange these guys. Or if I don't want one of these, I can unclick it. But I actually do want that, so I'm going to click it back. And so now I can easily, instead of going through possibly hundreds of files here, I have a playlist for just today. Just today, we're going to pick a student, we're going to have the wheel of consequences, and we're going to do the Battle of the Grades. And I can easily go back and forth between any of these files just like this. Let's see. Okay, so this is great. This is fun. I like having these games, but I'm also like, I'm not super creative all the time, and I just want some help sometimes. So one thing that Sidekick allows you to do is to discover what other people have created. And so if you click on this Discover tab, it'll actually open up downloadyouthministry.com and then a particular part of our store that is all Sidekick files. If you don't already know, Download Youth Ministry is a website that is made for youth workers to be able to find resources to use in their youth ministry. Our goals are to make things super editable as possible, because your context may be different than the person that made it. Everything is trench tested. It was used in somebody else's youth room or Zoom call, and it worked well for them, and they have prepared it for you. And then as cheap as we can make it. So you'll see the prices on a lot of these things are $4, $3. If you're a member, things are even cheaper. Like you can see this right here is only $2.60. But not everything on downloadyouthministry.com can be played inside Sidekick. A lot of stuff can, but not everything can. And particularly what can be is anything on downloadyouthministry.com that has, see if I can hover over it. It goes away when I hover over it, but this Sidekick files includes or Sidekick app required. I'm going to talk about real quick the differences between those. With a Sidekick app required, this is a file that was created for Sidekick, and really there's not another way to play it. You kind of need Sidekick to use it. So if you don't have Sidekick, if you're uncomfortable with Sidekick, it may not be even worth purchasing this thing because you'll just become frustrated. But a Sidekick file included means that it does have a Sidekick file in it, or more than one, and you can totally use it in Sidekick. But it also has maybe PowerPoint files or slides that you can use. You could use this thing entirely without Sidekick. You just don't get all the added benefits that Sidekick gives you, like random pickers and spinny wheels. It may just be images or just a series of videos or something.
So Steve, I may be jumping the gun here, but what about all the other games that are on that don't have Sidekick required or a Sidekick included?
Yep. You can play a lot of games, and we'll cover that a little bit later. You can play a lot of games inside on Download Youth Ministry inside Sidekick with just the images. Again, they're less editable, but you can totally use Sidekick to play back a lot of those.
So what you're saying is I need to shut up until we get to presenter, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Got it.
This one here looks interesting. This list battle quarantine. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I'm going to click on it. Maybe. And it looks like it is a game that works great over Zoom. Students compete by making coronavirus themed lists. It looks fun. So I'm going to buy it. I've actually already bought it and I have it on my computer here. And I'm going to show you how to import that into Sidekick. So if this is your library, you can come over here to import. We've talked about library, playlist, create. Let's talk about and discover. If we go to import, there's a big blue import button. And this will allow us to import a Sidekick file. Sidekick will import .sidekick files or .dym game files. And you can create files with other stuff later, which we'll talk about. But right now we're just going to import this list battle quarantine .sidekick. If I hit import says all done, sweet. And now this file is in my library. Now I may not have been able to find that super easy, so you can always come up here to search. And I know that the file was something like list something. Oh, there it is, list battle. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my playlist by clicking on that star. Now, with list battle quarantine edition, I'm not particularly, I don't actually know how to play this. So we're going to walk through how we configure this out. With all files that are on our store, there's this how to play button. And this was written by the author of this game specifically for you. So in this screen game, students compete by making coronavirus themed list. And there may be special notes in here specifically for you. Things like you may need to go buy this, or here's a useful, funny joke that I use when I'm playing this game, or don't pick the senior pastor's son or daughter because you will absolutely be fired if you play it this way. And these notes are specifically for you. And if you want, you can also add to these notes. This is a completely editable list or text document, so you can do this and save it. And the next time, let's say you play this game a year from now, it's right there ready to go with all your added notes to remind yourself on how to play. There's also an on-screen instruction section, and with this, you can see how the students are going to play this game and how you can use that as kind of a script to help you explain the game. To show that, we're in a Photo Fury game. I don't know if I mentioned that. Photo Fury is kind of like Pick Me, which is our our students game and Wheel of Destiny, which is our Wheel of Consequences game. Photo Fury works similar, but instead of picking names from a list or items on a wheel, this is picking images. And so these are just a list of images. So if we come over here, we can actually see that this entire picker module we recognize. I can see that the golden trophy is telling me that things that are hard or impossible to find is going to be the next winner. But if I don't like that, I can choose a new random, and it'll choose a new random, and I can hit spin, and I know what's going to land up here next. But to play this game, we're going to start off. This is how like I would play this game if I was presenting on a call. As I would say, I would turn on the title graphic. Hey guys, we're going to play List Battle Quarantine Edition. And if you guys don't know how to play List Battle Quarantine Edition, then I'm going to turn off the title graphic and turn on the on-screen instructions. One by one, teams name an item that fits into that category. If something is repeated or someone gets stumped, they are out for that round. The last person standing wins the round. Are you guys ready to play List Battle Quarantine Edition? All right, let's go. And then we can hit spin, and it's going to spin through these. And I already know that shows you can binge watch is going to win. And sure enough, it totally won. And that's how we can play this particular game. But if you don't know how to play a game, the how to play instructions and the on-screen instructions are there to help you out, written by the author for that. Great. Let's take a look at another builder. We'll run through a couple of these builders pretty quickly. The next one I want to talk through is EmojiHunt. And EmojiHunt is cool because it has a few different ways to play. With EmojiHunt movies, we can see one particular way that we can play this game. And with this, you'll see that there's a bunch of spots here for emojis. And this one up here has 2 emojis picked out. It looks like a spider, our arachnid friend, and a man or boy. And so if we come over here to play, we can spin this. And then when we hit stop, it will slot machine like land on some emojis. So I can see this, a spider and a man, and we can ask the students, hey, what movie, name this movie. And so they're thinking this one's an easy one, and they say Spider-Man. And down here I can reveal the answer by hitting this, and yeah, sure enough, it was Spider-Man. And this game gets a lot harder than that, so we can do like this one. Does anybody know that one? Of course, it is the Wizard of Oz with Dorothy and the Tornado and the Rainbow and the monkey. But how we made this was over here, you can select an emoji, and we've got thousands of emojis in here. So I'm going to type spider, and of course I can click on a spider. And then the answer is right here in this little area here. So Spider-Man is the answer. And we can add items to this list. So even though this one came with Sidekick, I can add to it and make it better, or take out questions. Like I really don't like, I think the Spider-Man question might be too easy, so I'm just going to remove it. And now if I come over here, it's not even in the list. Another way that you can play EmojiHunt is with this EmojiHunt game. And if I click on this, you can see it's slightly different. Instead of seeing emojis here, I'm seeing these weird like crisscross things. And I can see there's text here where in the last one there wasn't. Well, this text is actually instructions. So instead of texting a number, I want to say comment in the chat to win. And so now if I hit spin, it is going to randomly pick, because these were random icons, 4 emojis. And the first person to figure out how to put those into the chat, it looks like we've got some people chatting already, we can determine winners and play a game based on that. And it's completely random. And you can see like this one has 4, but if I come here and I choose random instead, and maybe random and random and random, now when I go to this question, it has 8 emojis ready to go. And when I hit spin, this is a whole lot more complicated to play than the 4 that we had up here. We purposely tried to make Sidekick's builders, kind of like EmojiHunt, simple enough to use, but open enough to where you could put in specific emojis or not specific emojis. So that way there are multiple different ways to play. You don't have to play the same way. The game doesn't have to look the same. You can put in your own background style graphics. Also, that way you can reuse this builder tons and tons of times, and it's different every time.
Steve, what about like adding my own emojis, things like that?
There's not a way to add your own emojis. We use the emojis that have been put forth by some governing body of emojis. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, that sounds fancy. Governing body of emojis.
I've done a lot of research on this. There's a governing body of emojis, and we are trying to keep up to date with that list, but they come out with new emojis all the time. And so just make sure that Sidekick is
the ones on your phone too are copyrighted by Apple and or Google. So we have to use that third party.
These emojis won't look like the ones on your iPhone, but they also won't look like the ones on your Android phone or Windows phone or whatever, because these ones we're able to put in here via copyright. That's probably way too much information.
What's up next?
Let's talk through Survey Says. Survey Says is another builder. Again, you can find the list of builders right here. And Survey Says is a Family Feud style game builder. And we can see this looks a lot like the Family Feud that we're all used to, but of course we can change it. We can put in our own background and make it look however we want it to look. And we can change the theme. We have some built-in themes here to make every time we play Survey Says maybe a little bit different. I just made a Christmas theme one accidentally. And everything is completely editable. So name a movie about robots. As I type in here, you'll notice it's filling in that little space with whatever I type in there. And the answers to this particular survey are right here. I can see that there are 7 answers. And if I click on this, I can see what have been typed in here: iRobot, RoboCop, Terminator, Transformers. And these numbers, which may or may not be made up, depending on what survey how many people you've actually surveyed. And you can come here to the play screen, again, to play, and pick a question. And all your options are right here. So instead of with a PowerPoint file, you might have to do some crazy keyboard shortcut or memorize a list of slides to go to. If they call out RoboCop, we can just reveal RoboCop. If they call out Wall-E, we can just reveal Wall-E, and it's all right there. If they call out some movie that doesn't exist or is not on the list, we can throw an X up there, and it's super, super easy to add edit. Sometimes I know people that will actually go in here and they will, for that person that needs a little bit of extra help, they will put in a movie. Yes, that one movie. And so if they said, that one movie, oh yeah, that one movie. And so they're able to edit this on the fly to maybe help out the parent team win a little bit or something. And of course you can reveal all the answers and show the title screen and all that. Trivia is another one of our builders, and it is very similar to Survey Says. If we come over here, we're going to click on Llama Drama because I think it's fun. It's very hard. This is made by me Googling around on some questions about llamas, and you can see the questions here and the answers here, as well as which one is the correct answer. We're also going to add a fact, or maybe not even a fact, but maybe like a taunt. Bet you didn't know that, eh? And so now we can also change the theme, we can change the background, and we can display a question. So which family, again, I would say like, hey guys, we're going to play Llama Drama. How much about these adorable animals do you know? And then which family do llamas belong to? They say, is it Amazona? No. Camelid? It is Camelid. And now that we've selected the correct answer up here, this fact button came up, and we can actually display this fact or taunt, if you will. Super easy to create your own questions. You don't have to know the ins and outs of PowerPoint and have 40 different slides. You can just create half as many things inside trivia. Pixelate is another fun builder that's super easy to use. I like this game called Name That Colorful Candy. because I like candy. And here are a bunch of colorful candies. You can see gumdrops, gummy bears, jelly beans, M&Ms, all very similar looking if we're being honest. And I can see here that it is incredibly pixelated, but we can go through and cycle through and let people try to determine what this candy is. And it's, of course, gumdrops. You can choose different modes. This Pixelate is not just a pixelator, but it is also a blur, a zoom in, a whiteout, and a silhouette game. So we can actually change this to be blur. And when we click on gumdrops, it is now a blurred out image that we're coming into focus. And so Pixelate is another really fun, handy builder that we have in here that doesn't need Photoshop to do any kind of crazy skills. Let's check out Boxes. Boxes is another builder that we have. It will look familiar because it's a lot like Pick Me, where we built the list of students, Wheel of Destiny, which we built the Wheel of Consequences, and the game that we bought from the store, List Quarantine Edition. Because you have your different items that we put in here, and we have odds we can rearrange. There's a few more features in here, like you can add an emoji to make this a little more fancy, and change the sound effects. So for dinner party with family, maybe that would be a hooray sound, but the share an embarrassing story might be a lose sound. So we want it to be more of like a womp, 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 womp. This game I just made, so you won't have it on there, but it was super easy to make. I made it in just a few minutes. But another feature that I like to do with like boxes is I like to put in prizes in here that you will never be able to win. So I'll put in here my iPhone, and then I will pick out an emoji, phone, great. And then I will beg my students not to land on my iPhone. But before I do that, I will click on this little button here and set it to never win. And boxes is like the spinner on, oh shoot, what's that famous game show? Press Your Luck. The no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. So you'll hit spin, and then you'll have your students tell you when to stop it. And of course, we already know it's going to be landing on Taco Bell delivered, and we'll hit stop. And of course, Taco Bell delivered to your house. Woohoo! Sounds like a late night party to me.
And Steve,
so we can,
for example,
yeah,
along those same lines, like what if you only have one gift card that you can give away? Or Carol actually had a question about bingo, which we do have on our store, but like if I call out a bingo number and I don't want to repeat that bingo number, how do I keep that from happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to hit this hide last item button right here. And so if we hit, we don't want that one to win. We want the $25 Amazon gift card to win. So if I hit spin, it's spinning. I say, hey, student, you tell me when to stop, and we'll stop it. They say stop. All right, you won the $25 Amazon gift card. I only bought one of those. I don't want to buy another one and promise another student $25 because I'm a student pastor and don't have $50 to just give away. I can hit clear, and you'll notice it just took it off the board. It was pretty quick, but there's no Amazon $25 gift card on the board anymore. And so it'll go through these. And of course, it'll still look like you'll see that it's highlighting my iPhone, but it will never win. It's not even an option. I can even click through here and it's not going to win. Another cool feature about this picker is this pre-select winner. You can also pre-select a winner. So I'm going to come down here, push this plus button, and I'm going to grab share an embarrassing story. Let's say I'm going to play this randomly a few times, but when it's Dave's turn, I've got Dave set up. And so instead of him winning Taco Bell delivered, I'm actually going to click on this share embarrassing story. And now when I spin, the golden trophy shows me that no matter what the computer's automatically random picked, it is going to land on share embarrassing story. And so I'll say, Dave, you tell me when to stop. Dave says stop. And oh, sorry. Dave, you have to share that embarrassing story. Yeah, you don't really have to. So
when I was in high school, I accidentally left the gas pump
Gosh.
thing, and I pulled away with the gas pump still in my car, and it just ripped it off of the. Didn't hurt my car though, so
Did you have to pay for it?
I did not. I just hung it back up and quietly left.
Oh,
So
man. It was high school.
probably not the best thing to do, but yeah, it was high school.
Another builder that we have in here is Countdown Maker, and Countdown Maker is exactly what it sounds like. It is a quick and dirty countdown maker. There's already a few in here, so we're just going to start one of these, like this service starts in. And you can see it's got a title graphic and 3 countdowns in here, a 1 minute, a 3 minute, and a 5 minute. And you can see not only are they labeled, but right here, these are hours, minutes, seconds. We have a 1 minute, 3 minute, and 5 minute. You can also completely customize this. So let's say I want it to be on the left-hand side, maybe a little bit smaller, bottom. And maybe I want some crazier font, maybe a different color. So you can customize this however you want, and then come over here and hit play. And now you have a countdown that was super simple to build. We can also do a couple other features. You'll see these over here. These are, do you want the countdown to count down or up? It could start at 0 and work its way up to a minute, or from 1 minute down. We also have what is going to happen before the timer. So nothing, it's just going to start the timer when you hit go, or it'll say ready, set, go. So basically a 3-second timer before the timer. And then we have a what happens after the timer. Do you want it to stop at 0, start counting back up in negative numbers, or display a big time's up? So if you're going to do a countdown before service, you're probably going to want to stop at 0 and have it do nothing beforehand. But if you're going to do a lightning round game, you might want to say ready, set, go, and say time's up at the end. So super easy to be able to have a quick countdown that works for the moment that you have. Yeah.
Really quick, Steve. Just a note, we will get to all your questions later, I promise. And also, we are recording this, so if you have to hop off and leave at some point, there will be a recording on Sidekick.tv, on the Learn page, Sidekick.tv. So
You can find right here, Sidekick.tv, and up at the top there is a Learn section. Our last builder that we have is called Presenter, and it's up here at the top, and it allows you to present basically anything. So you can throw in a bunch of images or slides into it, kind of like you would with PowerPoint. I'm going to show you really quick how to do that. So I have a PowerPoint presentation here. Whoops. That I made in just a few seconds, and I like it. I used it to create my slides, add in images, and I can come up here and hit File, Export, and I'm going to export this as a bunch of JPEGs on my desktop, great, and export, and PowerPoint gives me a little notification, says it did it. You can also do the same thing in Keynote. So here is that same presentation in Keynote, and if I go to File, Export to Images, burp, I want them to be JPEGs, and if I hit Next, I can choose a spot, Keynote, and Export, and now I have a folder full of images of both of those. And I can look to confirm. Oh my goodness, my computer. So I have the God of Wonders slides and the God of Wonders Keynote slides. In Presenter, so I'm going to create a new Presenter file and call it God of Wonders. And then I can grab this entire list of images and drag it right here. It's going to import them, hit Add, and now I have a slideshow inside Sidekick where I can scroll through images pretty easily. You can also do this with almost any product that you've bought on downloadyouthministry.com. A lot of the games that we have actually come with a folder full of images. So here's a fun game that we have on the store called Chris Chris. I think I did one too many. Chris, or Chris. So in this game, you have to name which Chris it is. It comes with a PowerPoint file that you could use to play, or it also comes with a folder full of images. So I'm going to come back out here, create a new presenter. Chris, or Chris. And I'm just going to drag in a few here. So boom. And so this is a file that I got, a resource that I got from downloadyouthministry.com. And now we're able to play it inside Sidekick once it imports. And done. And so which Chris is which? Pine, Evans, Pratt, Hemsworth. And we can see the answers. Let's see. You can also build slides directly in here. So I'm going to add one more slide. And if I just hit the add button, I can hit edit. And we have a full-on editor right here for slides. So if I want to, I think this, does it have a background? It doesn't have a background. But I'm going to maybe put some text up here and say, name that Chris. And maybe like change the fonts or something like that. You can do all that right here, and you even have layers. So I can put this over here and maybe put an image, which is desktop, Chris. Whoops, title. Boom. It's an import, and move it up there. And now I have a slide that looks like this. So super easy to create your slides, definitely easy to import your slides right into Presenter like that. Now, using Sidekick over Zoom, like I said at the beginning, Sidekick was not made for Zoom because it was pre-pandemic, but it is totally able to do Zoom. You'll see up here, we've been presenting everything on this window. This is what we ideally would want our students to see, not this entire screen. We just want them to see this. And there's we do that with a couple of things. First, we want to make sure that our preview is turned on. Unless we have a second monitor that we've got plugged in, you can see I have a monitor right beside here, which we were presenting. We want it to be in preview mode, so it's right here. Secondly, I've actually...
Really quick, Carol asked a question. She has to hop on another meeting, and I believe I answered it in the Q&A thing, but on the text part. But it's on Pixelate, the prize wheel. She was just wondering why it wouldn't spin. It's the prize reveal on Pixelate. Keep going down. Yep. And the reason is because it's Pixelate, so it doesn't actually spin as opposed to a wheel or boxes. Instead, this is just pixelating the image, and show it just reveals what the image is. So it's it was just kind of a fun way to do prizes, but honestly, if you're doing a prize thing, I would do a wheel or boxes instead of this. Is that fair, Steve?
I would say it's fair. Yeah. I think this has its place, but definitely I would do a wheel, probably. Yeah.
This would be like a dramatic thing.
So, yeah. Hey, if you guess this right, I will give it to you.
Right.
Oh, it's a PlayStation. Yeah. Prize reveal is just an example. Obviously, you're not going to give away. I'm not going to give away these things because I can't even afford them myself. So, but you could put in, the cool thing about this is you can put in your own images. So you can drop in a Chris, or Chris. Like that would be a fun thing to give away. But you can see now we have that down here at the bottom and can easily reveal that image. Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
No, you're good. Using, it's hard to show how to use Sidekick in Zoom because we're actually in Zoom. And so there's some kind of laws of physics that won't allow us to do that. So I've actually got like a demo here, and you can see that we're going to make sure that we're in preview mode, not in live mode. And then inside Zoom, you have this screen sharing option if you're the host of a call. And if you click on that, it'll show you a list of all the windows that you have open as well as your desktop. So on my computer, when I recorded this, I had two desktops, two screens. I could also share, because I'm on a Mac, a whiteboard, iPhone, iPad, and an iPhone, iPad via cable. But these are the windows that I had open at the time. So I had Sidekick, the control window, and Sidekick, the display window. So you just click this display window and you can actually show just this. Another thing to keep in mind is if you want to share the sound of the spinning, you would do this share computer sound, and it'll actually share the sound over their computer. And then if you're going to be playing back video, make sure to check this optimize screen share for video clip, and it will clean up the output. But once you click that, you hit share down here, and it'll start sharing. And then to stop it, there is this stop screen share button at the top, and that'll stop screen sharing on Zoom. Now, one last thing before we end on Zoom is with Windows, there is a particular bug. We're not sure why it exists, but we did find that it exists with either Zoom or with Windows. We're not sure exactly why. But if you have the same application that has two windows or more, which Sidekick does, we have this window and this window. And if you shared this window, it will share it perfectly fine unless this window is on top. And then what it'll do is it will share this part of your screen. So it'll show the Chris and like two of the pictures, but it'll also share the preview button and the show output button, because Windows can't make this one be on top of this one all the time. It seems to be a bug in Windows or Zoom. So the best ways that we can get around that is you can right click on your desktop and go to display settings and see if you have any more resolution to make sure you're able to spread your windows out more. You can also just maneuver around your Sidekick windows. This can even be off your screen a little bit and it'll still work fine. Or try and get a second display, maybe borrow one from the church or something like that to have a second display to be able to use. Or lastly, if you want, you can get a TV behind you. So if you're at home, maybe plug in your computer into the TV behind you and present like you would at a regular game show. Hopefully that makes sense. We're still trying to figure out a solution for that, but I'm not sure that we'll be able to change Microsoft or Zoom. And it looks like that's where the bug is. So hopefully that helped. I think we're about ready for questions, Dave.
All right, there are a few there. Nick was asking, what does the show winner do?
Oh, inside Leaderboard. So we've got this battle of grades. I think this is what you're referring to. Show winner will show the winner. So if maybe I have 10 teams here and I'm not fast enough to do the math to figure out which one is the winner and say, hey, 10th grade, you won. You can actually just hit this show winner and it'll say 10th grade, you won. And it makes it blue because their color is blue. So it just kind of shows them off and congratulates them.
Let's see. Next question was from Eric. How do you get the pictures for boxes? Simply import?
That's a great question. Those pictures are coming from emojis. Whoops, where's that? So this wall of prizes. These are just emojis. So if I click on iTunes gift card, obviously there's no iTunes gift card in here, but I just thought, hey, music is kind of like that. So instead I can do this, and you can see it changed over here as a musical note or something like that. So they're just emojis. There's 1,000 of them in there. So there's almost something that will match what you're doing. And sometimes it's even funnier to put something that's not. So instead of Taco Bell delivered, maybe I'm going to do a coffin or a toilet because I'm in middle school. And so it doesn't have to exactly match, but you can have fun with it. And hopefully your students will
And
laugh at that.
there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, I think, where you can ask a question. Paula and Susan wanted to know, like, what's the best way inside Zoom to take questions? So if you have, say, 2 or 3 pages of students in Zoom, how's the best way to take a question?
That is a good question. I see a few different ways, and it really depends on how many people that you have in your Zoom call. So one way to do it is just have people yell out answers. Obviously, that's more chaotic. Zoom also has, if you go to the chat feature, you can, I believe it's in the chat feature, they can raise their hand if you have that enabled. And you can actually see if their hand is raised. So I think you guys have a raise hand button right now underneath. And if you were to push that, you could, Lucas just raised his hand. He just turned it off. Bill did, Lucas did. And so I can see who is raising their hand right there in my participants view. I think I can maybe show that. So in Zoom, if you're the host, you can actually see participants there. One fun thing I like to do is make people just write out. So this is actually for something else I did, but they make like little cards and like, hey, like I'm raising my hand, and it's bright enough that if you just have a sea of cards, you can scan it pretty easily and see if somebody is.
Which is great if you have one page, but if you had multiple pages.
Yeah. Good. I would also say the chat is another way.
Michael says, can you export from ProPresenter into Sidekick?
You know what? I don't think you can. Dave, can you export images?
I will.
Dave's doing some
check right now. While I'm looking,
I can answer Eric's question. Eric, you asked, is displaying the preview window possible on Zoom for free or only the paid version? And it is totally available on the free version. We've done this with tons of youth groups and stuff, and it's all the free version. You don't have some of the extra features like hosts and 500 people in the room, but it is totally able to be done in the free. I do believe that there might be a limitation with older, slower computers. I'm not able to confirm that, but I do think that some people don't see the display just a window, and I think the reason is because either their Zoom is out of date or they their computer just isn't able to actually do it. There may be more on Zoom's FAQ about that.
Steve, you can export images from ProPresenter.
Okay.
So
great. And then you would just import those images the same way that we imported images from
Can you walk through that in like 20 seconds again? Just
from ProPresenter?
No, I'm just importing images. So I exported from ProPresenter. I have a folder of images that ProPresenter gave me.
So this is my great, whoa, blah, blah. Let's pretend I know how to type. And so if I hit, there's two ways to do it. One, you could hit this bulk and do it there, or I'm lazy. So I like to just do, where did my, oh, dag. All right, here we go. So here's a folder full of images. And so I can grab just these images and drag them in here. And Sidekick will do them alphabetically. So neat trick is this is slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is technically alphabetically in order. And if I put them in here, I can see it maintain that. And if I hit OK, they are in alphabetical order. But if I wanted slide 5 to be first, I might make this a slide 5, and now it's in alphabetical order. And when I drop that in, slide 5 will come before slide 1.
Or you can drag them around inside.
And you can totally also drag them around or edit them in here. Absolutely.
Lucas says, what Sidekick app builder would you have to use in order to have pictures like JPEGs of different Amazon prizes rotating until the student's CL stop.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would use Photo Fury for that. So I think we actually might have an example in here. This is probably the best example that I have in here, but it's announcement roulette. So these would be announcements, but you could totally replace these with prizes. And then we'd hit spin, and they get to hit stop, and it will be whatever prize they landed on. And so right now it'll be silent disco. You can do this. Another cool feature is you can actually turn off this next winner, this little eyeball right here. If I turn this off, it'll land on something, but I don't know what it's going to land on. And it's going to land on this prize right here, the VBS, which could be a prize instead of a thing, an announcement.
Paula, just to circle back, I would say that the best way in Zoom to answer for a large group would be the hand raise feature that's inside Zoom. If you just Google like Zoom hand raise, there's all kinds of stuff that tells you how to do it. But if you look at the participants, you'll see who's raising their hand. So that's probably, or the chat, if you needed to say like the fastest person to answer, the chat would be a good, because that leaves a timestamp of when they answer.
Mm-hmm.
And Susan had along those same lines, just co-host can help to see the answer.
That's
you may
true.
have mentioned that earlier. But.
That's true. If you have the ability, have somebody else on the Zoom call as a co-host as well. So as I was presenting, Dave was going through questions and trying to answer things and keeping us on time and stuff. So having somebody to help you is worth its weight. So
so the last question I think we have is from George. It says the free version of Zoom. Oh, he's saying has time on. Did you answer the one about the watermark? So Sidekick. No. The preview window will still have a watermark, right, of Sidekick? So you have to have a paid version.
You do have to have a paid version, which you can totally get at sidekick.tv. There's a pricing section. It's totally free to try. You just have a watermark, but if you pay for one of the plans, it removes the watermark and you get access to everything.
And George, yes, there is a 30-minute time limit on Zoom if you're not paid as well. So. All right. I think Great. That does it for questions. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. We will have this as a recording. So if you forget something Steve said in all his brilliance, it will be recorded so you can go back and check it out. And Steve, any last thoughts?
That's it. Yeah, no, have fun. And if you have any questions, you can also email us at support@downloadyouthministry.com, and we would love to help you out. And thank you. Yeah.
All right. Have a great day.
See you guys.